This month I went on an adventure all the way to sunny Newcastle. Not particularly exotic, I know, but it is a beautiful city. I was there for a 2-day workshop with the Duda Paiva company, whose work I have admired for many years. They don't often venture outside of the Netherlands, so when I saw the opportunity to work with them and see the puppets up close, I obviously grabbed it with both hands.
Shut up and take my money!
Duda Paiva and his company create performances with puppetry and dance that transcend both disciplines. Their performances are dynamic, intimate and poetic, exploring human relationships with physical and visual narratives. Paiva creates his particular kind of puppetry using the object score. This is the concept that a puppeteer must first learn to focus his mind, then follow that with the control of their physical body, their muscles, their breath. Then they learn to transpose their expression. In other words, the puppet becomes an alter ego, an extension of the self. As he puts it, it is choreography for two bodies functioning under the same mind. The audience's perspectives shift as the dialogue between the puppeteer and the puppet switch. Many of the puppets are hybrids, to be worn by the puppeteer. Whatever is physically missing from the puppet is replaced by that of the puppeteer, the legs and arm perhaps. An illusion is created in order that the audience believe in the life of the puppet, despite the attachment of the puppeteer. Good evening, everybody. I just got back from my first day at the Duda Paiva Company's workshop, and I'm knackered. Blimey, I never thought I was going to be in a position where I couldn't handle something physical. I've been running around doing choreography and thinking about this all day, and it was brilliant, but I'm exhausted. I thought I was quite fit. Turns out I'm not. So we learnt about how to stand effectively, to use our body and our muscles correctly. We also looked at a piece of choreography that we kind of made up ourselves, working with one puppet between two people. So one person had the head and the hand and the other person had the feet. That was really physical because it was to a piece of music. So we were running around and rolling around all over the floor and it was mad. We looked at the principles of puppetry in the first place. So we looked at the idea of breath, the idea of a puppet having weight, the focus of the puppet, the dynamics. We were just walking with a puppet and make sure it looked like it was alive. We also had a really challenging bit at the end that made me realise that I am not really a puppeteer. I'm a puppet maker, but I am not a puppeteer. I'm not a performer. That's the point. I am not a performer, really. Everybody else in the room is a professional actor, a professional puppeteer, professional dancer. Me, I just make them. So that was a bit of a challenge, but I've had loads of fun today. I've learnt loads. I've also learnt a lot about how Duda Paiva's puppets are made, because that was one of the main reasons I was here. I've always looked at the foam that he uses and thought to myself, well, how is that strong enough to survive all the manipulation and choreography that it goes through in a performance? And it's a very specific type of foam, a bit stronger than your normal upholstery foam. And every joint has, on the inside of it, every piece that moves apart and together, every joint like that, has a piece of leather on the inside or a piece of suede just glued in. And that is how they survive. So that was interesting to find out. But they really are just cut up with knives and scissors and brought into the form. One of them, how do I put this? It was interesting to not be very good at something. I've always prided myself on how positive I am about, I can do this. I always have a go at anything. I can have a go at anything and I can pretty much pick things up pretty quickly, but this I couldn't. So to be the amateur in the room, that's the first time that's happened in a long time. And it was quite intimidating as well. As an introvert, it was very intimidating to be the quiet, unskilled, unexperienced one in the room. I've got a lot of skills and a lot of things, but this was not one of them. And I had to kind of put away my pride a little bit and be the person who knew nothing. Even though I've done a master's degree in puppetry and animation, I really did feel like I was amongst people of the industry who knew a hell of a lot more than me. So, for example, when at the end, when we were asked to pick up a puppet and just talk to the rest of the people in the room, everybody else was just jumping up and getting on with it, and I was thinking, oh, scary. So, and they didn't seem to be bothered by it at all. Different mentality from me completely. So yeah, it was a really interesting day, and I look forward to what we're going to do with things tomorrow. I've had another lovely day working with the Duda Paiva workshop today. I'm home from Newcastle and it's very late, and we've done a lot more choreography today. We've done a lot more working with the puppets in basic movement, talking about the breath and the focus and the counter movement that you move, the way you move a puppet with one movement at a time, considering each one and not blurring them together. And what else have I learned? There's just a lot more practice today for the principles that we learnt yesterday. So it was very interesting again to be the amateur in the room all over again. But what I've discovered is what I want to really do is have a go at making one, because I'm not an actor. This has become clear to me over the last 2 days, but I am a maker. So I'm going to get hold of some upholstery foam, and I'm going to make my own puppet in the same way, learn with the same principles that I've learned over the last couple of days from just looking at the puppets. And we had about 15 of them to pass around in different forms. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'll have a think over the next couple of days, because I'm very tired after all of that. It was a long way, and there was a lot of physical movement, a lot of Pilates and yoga and running around and rolling around the floor, and I'm shattered. So I'm going to have a think about what I'm going to make, because for me that's the best bit.